physical health or energetically or emotionally. I mean, everything's body, mind, and spirit. And so we have to take care of all of those. And I had the skills to actually take care of those three things because that's the life study that I've done. My passion has always been about understanding body, mind, and spirit. And I think there are certain things that people are struggling with because they only think it from one angle only. And so my support is to help a person clarify their body, clarify their mind, and clarify their spirit, because that they're all key ingredients. I mean, the first question I'll ask with a person with cancer, in all honesty, I would say, "What do you want to live or die?" Because in all reality, sometimes they're struggling to live, and so therefore they've set up the pathway to possibly not live anymore, die. It's really sad from my point of view because I believe a person can be helped. You know, I struggle with somebody that you hear about on the news that somebody's committed suicide. I struggle with that because it's like they just missed the point on that final thing because, you know, there's no escape when you understand the true reality. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, I think that brings us nicely to that third big mistake that people make is they give up hope. And I remember years
Yeah.
ago, I heard about a scientific study with rats swimming. And just before they're about to drown, they'd give them put a stick in so they could hold onto the stick and they'd take the stick away. So they got hope and they could swim for much, much, much longer. But if they didn't get that stick, they would just drown. So
Wow.
I was
That's
wondering,
so
you know,
true.
if you had a bit more to say about that idea of hope.
Oh, yeah. What I've written in my course and the notes that I've created is that um, determination to keep living is an ongoing process, whether we like it or not. I'm still in that process. I don't have to be as more emphasis on being concerned with my fears of dying, obviously because I've come so far. But I don't get I don't get lazy on the idea that I have to stimulate hope, and through meditation or prayer or contemplation, each step along my life path is still there. That hasn't changed at all. In actual fact, it'll always be there because that to me keeps me alive, keeps me in action. Just talking to you today gives me a sense of joy, and if I have a sense of joy, then I no longer have a lack of hope. I mean, there were times when I lost hope, many times, you know, but I was able to rekindle my own joy for living. And the truth of the matter is, you can't have depression and happiness at the same time. You can only have one or the other. So I choose to stimulate hope all the time. And when I doubted things, I would, you know, seek answers. I would actually reach out for support and find out some answers about certain situations, certain symptoms that I may have been exhibiting at the time. I mean, immunotherapy did give me some side effects, but I figured that what's worse, the immunotherapy or the doing nothing and just having you know slowly wasting away. And I figured, well, that's a minor thing compared to what I have to do to get better. And so I always say immunotherapy definitely bought me time. It strengthens the immune system. Other things I'm
Yes.
not sure about. Mm.
And I wanted to know, Robin, I would say, and you'd probably agree, that your own experience is really, you know, your greatest success story. But I imagine that in 44 years, you've had many, many success stories. Would you like to perhaps tell us about one other one?
Yeah, I mean, there's some successes and also there's some disappointments. And I will start with my greatest disappointment as a practitioner. A very famous, and I won't say his name because I know that he personally would not like me to say, but he's a very famous person. Um, I'd been treating him for a number of years, and I was in the airport, just arrived back from the United States. I did a seminar over there, and my phone rang when I turned it on, and it was him. And he said, "I've just been given a diagnosis of cancer," and his was of the esophagus and the digestive system. And that was over, oh God, that was probably over 20 years ago. My disappointment is I couldn't help him with the knowledge I have now because I was still learning about the whole process. I mean, you know, it's an ongoing process, and something that's become a passion and to a great degree a hobby of mine is to continually research. I'm a bit of a researchaholic, I tell you the truth. I love delving into all the forms of healing. Anyway, so that's one of my greatest disappointments, that I wasn't able to help him with the knowledge that I have now, because in all honesty I would have been able to help him really with what I know. um, my greatest achievements, I can honestly say the man I'm treating right now, which is a chronic illness, he's got prostate cancer, and he's doing exactly what I asked him to do. And I mean, sometimes going out of his comfort zone in his thoughts and his beliefs, but he's progressing really well. And we're just waiting on a follow up PET scan for him to see it. But based on exactly where he was headed versus how I've steered him now into a better pathway, um, I'm very confident that he's going to get a lot more life in his for himself, you know, because he was headed towards I call it the cliff. You know, you're right on the edge of the cliff, and you got to pull yourself back from the edge. And he's done a great